Okay, so we are talking today about collaboration, and collaboration can mean a whole bunch of different things. And I really wanted to talk about this for yoga teachers specifically because it's been such a huge source of one, friendships for my business, and two, it's just been such a huge source of growth for my business, both actually particularly in yoga and in my design company. But yoga has been a really huge it's been a really big factor for me growing my offerings and my audience and that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk about that because I think it's so important to be seeing our fellow teachers as community and as support and people that we can work with almost as colleagues instead of competition. So the more, yoga teachers that are being put out into this world, there's lots more students, practicing for every teacher. So we shouldn't be deterred by that. We shouldn't be kind of nervous about that in any way. Really, I want to shift to seeing our fellow teachers as peers and as almost colleagues or coworkers that we can collaborate with, we can work with, we can use as support system, very, very similar to what we're doing in the Facebook group already. Which is just coming together and supporting one another. And I love that. I love seeing everyone helping each other. And I've seen lots of actually collaborations in terms of people inspiring one another for their offerings or different workshop ideas, that sort of thing. So the more we can do that in our yoga teaching business, I think the more we'll be able to expand, the more we'll be able to grow, the more people we'll be able to have in our network of fellow teachers that we can ask questions to about pricing or ideas about workshops that you're not sure are going to fly, or what to do if you have a student who has X issue and you need to help support them around that. So having a network of or a community of yoga teachers that we can really work to collaborate on things is so important. And it's really the main reason why I put together the Facebook group in the first place. So I've got notes. I don't have my two computers set up here because I'm not at my desk, but I'm going to bounce between my notes, and let's see if I can actually get this. Okay, so I'm going to bounce between my notes and my webinar screen so I can still see the chat function. Give me a moment here while I set this up. All right. So what I want to mainly kind of dive into in the first half of this chat is ways that we can collaborate with people, ways that we can collaborate with yoga teachers, ways that we can collaborate with other wellness professionals and that sort of thing, so that we can start talking and thinking about what that looks like, because there's so many different ways to collaborate. Like I already said, it's a support system. It's also teaming up for, let's say a workshop or a series. And I'll tell you an example about a couple of times where I've done this. The first main big collaboration I think I did in terms of yoga was to pair up with an acupuncturist, which was so awesome. Like she already had such a great client base and such a beautiful space. She has this like treehouse in Toronto. It's beautiful. And her and I, I went in actually to see her for an appointment for acupuncture, and her and I got chatting, and she's also a personal trainer, and she is really into kind of that fitness thing. And she was talking with me about, how can yoga be combined with this treatment that I'm giving to my clients, both personal training and kind of the wellness, and also the acupuncture. And we just came up and sat down with a great series that we could run. And we hosted 8 weeks, I think it was 8 weeks, 8 weeks of classes in a row. So once a week, every Wednesday night we did it. And we called it Yoga Outside of the Box. We made a little logo, and I screen printed t-shirts for us to give to our workshop attendees. And we just ran with it, and we planned out our kind of class series based on combining some strength cultivation and building of muscle through her personal training. Then we wound down into a yoga sequence to kind of ground back down. And then at the very end of every single session, we did a 15 to 20 minute community acupuncture session where everyone kind of went into their own shavasana with lots of props, lots of pillows and blankets. And she went around and did acupuncture, and she knows her clients well enough, and she knew most people or got to know them so that she could customize that for each person. So it was really, really, really nice. We had 10 people. We sold out of that. And it was so awesome to get a new take and a new audience into my workshops. So that was a really, really great workshop series that we did. And then another series that I have upcoming this fall is I'm teaming up with an RMT. So that's a registered massage therapist. And her and I are going to team up and do a 2-hour yin and massage workshop on a Sunday night in September. We're calling it Exploring the Art of Slowing Down. And it's really just all about grounding down with some awesome yin sequence. And the RMT Jamie, she'll be going around and she's going to massage people and adjust people based on her massage therapy. So it's awesome. So you don't just have to be thinking of collaborations with yoga teachers. There's so many wellness professionals that I could think of. You know, there's naturopaths and there's nutritionists and all of these things. And if you guys can join forces and offer a really great package, so imagine you teamed up with a nutritionist who offers, you know, meal planning packages for their clients, but they're also offering, you know, an add-on of yoga classes for 6 sessions or whatever you want to work in there. That's a really awesome way to network your offerings and make really helpful and valuable connections with other wellness professionals. So definitely collaborating to put on a really awesome workshop or a series is such a good way of teaming up. The other ways you can kind of collaborate is that I've teamed up with people in the past for webinars or live workshops. So similar to what I'm doing with you right now. And we've even done it on here where I've collaborated with a couple of other members in our group to come on and do a sort of spotlight, a member spotlight. And that's a collaboration as well. That's us kind of using each other's audiences and niches and topics to work into the other's kind of goals or objectives. So, you know, I've had people on here. I had Jenny Finkel on here who really came on to help talk about her rebranding process and what it was like for her to move states and set up shop in a totally new state and how she got that going and why branding became important to her. So she's kind of being able to come into my audience and present her story as a way of making a connection there, and then vice versa. So she was sharing, you know, the live chat with her audience, and so there's lots of cross references there, and that's definitely collaboration. So anywhere that if you're already hosting webinars or live online workshops for your yoga teaching business, I know a few of you are because I've seen in the group or we've chatted about it before. Then team up with someone who has something similar or complementary to offer. So find someone when you're working with an online audience who, number one, has a similar audience number to yours. And this isn't necessary. It's just a nice kind of frame of reference. So if someone's massive, like if I were to reach out kind of right now to Elena Brower, I don't know if she'd be in to have a webinar with me, which sucks. But you know what I mean? So comparative audiences and try and have similar goals for your audiences. Now, talking about kind of teaming up in complementary or similar goals is to say, you know, if someone else is in the same niche as you, then for sure it's worthwhile to team up and grow your audience. If someone is offering a complementary service, so similar to that, like nutritionist, yoga teacher relationship or something like that, that's another great way to expand your audience and start getting yourself in front of different people. So definitely teaming up or collaborating for a webinar or an online workshop or something like that. Another way you could do it is to run either in person if you work at a studio, or online is fine as well. With social media, it helps you tremendously with this, but is to find someone else to team up with and collaborate and run a contest or run a giveaway. And there's so many different ways you can do this. If it's online, you've got the power of social media behind you. You've got so many resources available to help you manage a contest. And the way that I've seen this help grow audiences is if you have an email list, you could run a contest to get people onto your email list and that sort of thing, with people sharing things. Or if you've got a product or a service that you want to give away, that's another thing to run a contest for. So I know, Kate Connell, she recently just launched her book, which is amazing, for private teachers. And that's a really great product to have, to be able to team up with people and offer, a contest or a giveaway for something like that, where we're getting that in front of more people and we're starting to grow and expand our audience, but we're also offering something in return. And then again, this can work very, very well in studios as well. If you've got a class pass, maybe you want to give away. If people refer, 3 people, if there's a contest, say they have to show up to like 3 classes in a row or 3 days in a row, where I've seen lots of different like 30-day yoga challenges. That's a really big one I've seen in studios, where if you can make it out to 30 days in a row of class, they'll give you like a month free. Or if you, some sort of incentive to grow your audience and also to give something back. So that's a really great way to collaborate with someone else. The other kind of forms of collaborations or partnerships that you see in the yoga world are partnering with companies to offer props, or you see like Inner Fire is a big Canadian label for yoga clothes, and they have a luminary program. So you can be like a brand ambassador for Inner Fire and collaborate with a bigger company. They'll give you kind of their clothes or their yoga props or whatever company you decide to go to. You know, we see things with essential oils or props or any of these tools that we use in yoga. We can see yoga teachers partnering or collaborating with these bigger companies to be offered their product. They'll give their product to those teachers, and in return, the teacher will then promote them to their students and their audience. That's very much a collaboration, and we see that all of the time. And you know, that's another really great way to kind of build your credibility and team up with a bigger company and grow your audience that way. So that's also a big one. That we do see a lot of in the yoga world. The other thing that is huge that can really help you grow, especially if you're someone who does, like Rosalind, you said you did privates. If you do things outside of the studio or in studio, which I'll talk about both, referral programs are a huge way of collaborating. If you can team up with another teacher or another studio or another wellness professional. So let's use the example of a naturopath. If you can go in and make a relationship and build a relationship and kind of nurture a relationship with a naturopath and say, hey, if you find any of your clients or your patients are struggling and they could use some yoga in their life, please, here's a bunch of cards. They can get a free consultation with me first if they come through you, or, you know, if you want to offer an incentive, that's cool. If you don't mind, like, sending them my way, and I will do the same, because often if we're in private classes as well, or working with people one-on-one, or at least in smaller groups where we can really get to know our students. So some studios, you may be in that kind of relationship with your students as well. But we often see, like, I see people where I'm like, I can't diagnose that, and I can't necessarily, I don't have the qualifications to really diagnose that or help you. And I can recognize that. And I'm very comfortable saying that to my clients or my students. And I can definitely recommend, though, you know, I did physio here for a while and it helped me, or my naturopath doctor, here's her card. Just let her know that I sent you. If you can build that kind of referral network within your wellness community, so other wellness professionals, that's an amazing source of kind of word of mouth marketing, because we all know that that's still the big factor here, is having people who people trust telling them referrals. So definitely reaching out to the wellness professionals in your community, reaching out to other, you know, massage therapists or gym fitness trainers, or, you know, all of these things. There's so many that we could get into that are in the wellness industry as a whole. And they're really great people to just have a relationship with, to just chat with, meet up for some coffee with someone, and chat about how you can help each other grow. Because that's the big factor of collaboration, is that it should be two ways. It should be a two-way street. And it should be two people wanting to help each other grow. So that's something to consider, is that you need to be able to offer something a little bit more in return as well, instead of just, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who, if you just said, you know, can you help me? They'd be willing to help, but people do also, I'm sure that they would appreciate something else to be helping them as well. And then the last kind of way I wanted to talk about collaborating for yoga teachers is speaking events, or, you know, special events, or teaming up with another teacher to go in on a booth at a wellness fair or something like that. You don't have to go into all of these things alone. And that's a big thing about entrepreneurship. I've found, at least in the past year, is that sometimes it can be a little bit lonely, because we're not always interacting with coworkers, or we're building relationships and interacting with our students, but sometimes that coworker vibe is missing, and it doesn't always have to be like that. So if you're a studio, or if you're a teacher or someone like that, then if there's like a wellness fair coming up, we have them in Toronto a lot of the times, or a festival, team up with a teacher and see what you guys can come up with to offer, or to buy into a booth, or to offer a free class, or offer a free, like, 1 hour little speaking event or a chat about a niche topic that's important to you or your business. And team up with someone, so that you don't have to, 1, do all of the work, 2, take on all of the financial burden, and 3, you don't have to be alone doing it. It's fun with someone else. So that's another really one that I think gets kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Overlooked, not underlooked. It's the one that gets overlooked, is that you don't have to buy these booths by yourself if you're a standalone teacher. Studios are a little bit kind of probably different, in that a studio wants to be represented as its own studio. But maybe there's a way that you can combine with another, again, wellness professional that you can collaborate on with something like that. So those are some of the ways to collaborate. And like I said at the beginning, it has been such a huge source of growth for my yoga business, and finding gigs for myself has been collaboration. And it's just so much more fun to have someone else with you to go in on something with, or on something, to go in on something. So if anyone has any questions about ways to collaborate, or you've got a really great idea you want me to shout out in the chat, or that you've collaborated with someone in the past, I would love to hear it in the comments. And I will definitely shout it out so that the people on the replay can get that idea too. If I've missed anything, I definitely am not covering all of it. So yeah, give me a little kind of shout out on the comments about if you have an idea, or if you've done something that's worked well in the past. And I'm going to keep kind of chugging along here, because I wanted to get into the sort of second phase of this chat about how collaboration does help your business, and what kind of benefits there are to collaborating, other than just, you know, what I've been saying, and that it's fun and it works well usually. Is that, okay, so how collaborations help is that I've, like I said, found my collaboration gigs. So any of the gigs I've gone in with someone else or another wellness pro, I found them to be definitely the most successful, in that we almost always sell out very quickly if it's like a seat or a registration based thing. And I find them to be the most financially rewarding. And that's just the honest truth of it, is that the collaboration gigs that I've taken on in my yoga career have been the ones that I've made the most money at, because number one, like I said before, we sell out our seats usually because there's two of us working as hard to promote it. And two, I think that when there's two topics, or there's two people coming from a professional standpoint on these things, then it's kind of more valuable to people, and people are willing to pay a little bit more for those two skill sets. So that's a big reason why I think it's been a good thing to do in my business, as well as the financial stability of it. So going back, Rosalind says, I offered a private lesson for a chiropractor who now sends me amazing referrals all the time. I feel like chiros are always encouraging their clients to try yoga, so it's a great connection. That's so true. And I was actually, Rosalind, just talking to my sister about this, that I've never been to a chiropractor and I'm dying to go. I'm like itching to try it. And yeah, that's why I didn't think about it, because I've just never been. But it's so true. Chiropractors are huge, and there's so many in many of the cities. Like in Toronto, we have tons, and there's so many connections just waiting to be made there. So, and you're right, it's all kind of spinal alignment and things like this in the body. Of course, they're going to love the overlap of yoga. So that's a really, really, really great one. Thank you, Rosalind, for chiming in there. So yeah, so how else does a collaboration help in your yoga business? So it helps you build an audience. If you've got, so let's go back to something like the webinar idea, and teaming up with someone to host an online workshop, or say you host an online class with people, a free live online streamed yoga class. You're teaming up with another yoga teacher. You guys are going to go back and forth between the frames, or get together in person if they're local, and host a free streamed, or you can charge if you want, if you've got audience members already. How does that grow your audience? So one of the ways I've done this in the past, where I've collaborated with a webinar friend, or we've joined together to go on a webinar, it's a little bit different for these live chats, but one of the ways I've done it in the past is that we cross our email opt-in forms. So when someone lands on your collaborating partner's website, they're opting into your list. And when someone lands on your web page, they're opting into your partner's list. So you're building each other's email lists that way. So that's a really great way to grow your audience. The other way that I've already kind of mentioned is that you're standing up in front of new people in person. If you're joining up to offer a workshop or a series, you are kind of putting yourself and speaking to and engaging with a new set of people that the other person may have brought in. And so that's a really, really, really powerful way to get your services and get your offerings and get your teaching cred in front of other people. And that kind of leads me into my other point about why collaboration helps so much, and that's that it builds credibility. So if you collaborate with a wellness professional or someone who is really reputable in their field, and it might be a different kind of area, like if we did the chiropractor one and yoga teacher partnership, that kind of thing, then when you're kind of pairing yourself with someone else who's reputable, you're increasing your credibility, if that makes sense as well. So the more you can kind of team up with people that you trust and that you know do a good job and that you know are reputable and credible, that plays into how people are seeing you and how credible you're being taken by your audience. So it does build credibility. We can even probably see this, like, you know, on different kind of collaborations, like say a podcast or a guest post. My guest post for moving from subsistence to sustainability, I can't say that title very, very well. It just got posted on teach.yoga. So Elena Brower's teach.yoga website. And that immediately made me feel like, okay, you know, this is a step up towards credibility. And the more connections you can make that way and collaborations you can make with reputable people and credible people, whether that's teachers or people in different industries, I think the better it helps your credibility as well. Collaboration also helps build kind of community and connection in the yoga world and in the wellness world. And this goes back to the point I made when we first started, in that I think it's really important we start taking these people as a community and as peers rather than competition. I'm really big about building community. I'm sure I've said that lots of times. I'm sure you know from the Facebook group. I'm really big on building a trusted community of people around a brand, and just making those kind of building that kind of community or network of teachers or wellness professionals helps connect the industry. And it helps exactly with what you said, Roslyn, about, you know, you went to a chiropractor and now that chiropractor refers people to you. I went to my massage therapist and now we refer each other to each other. We refer our clients to each other as well. And, you know, we're collaborating for a workshop, and we're just building these connections, and they're always going to be helpful when you're in the similar industry. So community is that other huge kind of aspect of collaboration. And ultimately, the last point I wanted to make is that it's less lonely. You know, there's someone else to kind of share the burden. There's someone else to bring in skills where you might lack, and you bring in skills where they might lack. And it's just nice to go sit down with someone for coffee and chat about the workshop you're going to host coming up and be excited about that. And so it really does kind of light up a new motivational spark in me whenever I collaborate with someone. It brings out another aspect of excitement that I have it when I'm by myself, but not as intensely. And when there's someone else to be accountable to, I get really excited. So it helps kind of lessen that burden. So that's kind of the points I wanted to make about collaboration, because I feel so strongly about this topic. I feel so strongly that it's the key to kind of what will help us grow and nurture each other as a group, as a community of yoga teachers who are all working towards the same thing. We're all working towards the same kind of ultimate goal of practicing and teaching and sharing what we love. And so when you can collaborate and when you can bring a business aspect into that and have someone else there with you, just makes the ride so much more fun and comfortable and exciting. And on that note, I kind of just want to put a little bit of a teaser out into the community and anyone watching the replay about an upcoming collaboration that I'm doing with someone in the yoga industry who I love and adore. And I'm so excited. I can't really share that much more than that, other than to stay tuned, check in with the Facebook group. As we kind of go along and start digging our heels into this, it will start to come out. But I can't even contain my excitement. And this goes into exactly what I was just saying about how collaboration can help, in that with my yoga teaching community, if I'm being so transparent and honest with you, this is my passion. Helping yoga teachers thrive. That's my passion. That's why I've chosen to, use some of my skills and my entrepreneurial background and my design background and my brand background to focus in and help this group of people. And sometimes that gets hard, and I feel almost sometimes like I'm talking to myself, and I need that connection. And I love hearing from you guys in the group. It lights up my day. But when this person approached me about a collaboration and a partnership for something coming up, it just sparked that motivation back up in me. It sparked something inside of me. I'm so excited again to just have someone to come in this with me. I'm so excited to just have someone else who understands, have someone else to help me, and have someone else to kind of share the experience with. And that's huge. That's such a big factor for me. And until you kind of have it, I can't really explain it much more than that, but it's just lit something else up back inside of me. And I can't wait to share more with you guys. I'm so excited. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Sorry, I'm leaving you hanging. It's like a cliffhanger, but I promise as things come together, you guys will be the first to know, I swear. Because you've always been the first to know, because you guys are my tribe. You guys are my crew. So I'm so grateful for that. And if anyone has any questions about this, if you are watching the replay, you know where to find me. I'm in the Facebook group. I'm always in the Facebook group. You can just simply tag me and I promise I will respond to you. So any questions that come up, please definitely let me know. Roslyn, any suggestions for competition between teachers and studios? So I think that this is sort of another world. I want to kind of address this as a different sort of world, if that makes sense, than if you were just say on your own teaching privates. But in a studio and with other teachers, I know the competition that can be driven between people for class times, for class, how many students are in your classes, like this kind of competition that comes up, especially, and again, in between studios. And the way I've seen collaborations work the best for in studio is one, between teachers to just be really open about communication, really making and nurturing relationships so that you're talking with your teachers, your fellow teachers, you're interacting with them, you understand each other maybe on a deeper level than just like, oh yeah, she works in the studio. And build a relationship so that you can see that they're human and they see that you're human. And when it comes to, sub lists and things like this, it just makes things easier, and it's just nicer to have connections within your studio. When it comes to, again, and one more thing with teachers in studio that I've seen lots of people do that have been really successful is team up with another teacher in your studio and approach your studio owner about workshops and series. Say we both want to teach this 10-week series, or we both want to teach, the 7-week chakra series, and we want to just drive off of each other and we want to both be teaching it. I've seen so many in studio teacher collaborations go so well, and the energy between two teachers, and sometimes it's not there. It's not for every single teacher should pair up with the other teacher. You have to have a connection and a chemistry to jive off of each other and work with each other. But the series and the workshops that I've taken with two teachers together have been the chemistry between them that you see, and the bouncing back and forth, and the different perspectives that each teacher takes and the different perspective they bring has been so valuable for me as a student in those workshops. And so inner studio teacher collaborations, I think, are really awesome. And finding, just making those connections with them. And then in between studios, so it depends. This all kind of, I think, varies from town to city to town. And here in Toronto, where I live, there's pretty much a yoga studio on like every block. Maybe not quite, but like there's a lot of yoga studios, and the competition between them is big. And a lot of these studios are offering, intro months, and people can kind of studio hop, and it's really difficult to kind of find your place. But I think for studios, it's really important to also, again, maintain good relationships and maintain kind of like nurture those relationships with other studio owners in and around your town or your city, so that it doesn't have to be a volatile competition. It doesn't have to be they're coming to my studio or yours. I've seen studios also offer like inter-studio passes where you can buy a pass and use it at either studio. Sweet, that's amazing. I've seen also, other studios interchange sublists, and they share, teachers, and teachers can teach between the two of them. So I think really it comes down to, I think the bottom line for all of this is the relationships that you build with people. And it can be a competition attitude, or it can be a community attitude. And so it just kind of depends. I think overall, the community attitude is a really good approach, because it shows that you can work with other people and that they're going to have your back, you're going to have their back. If you've got a student at your studio who lives near the other studio, well, you know what, here's the other studio, or referring, or whatever. Or, if they've got a teacher that's sick, hey, studio down the street, any chance you can call some people from your sub list and send someone here, and they've got each other's back, and it just works. It's a nice relationship to have. So I hope that answers your question, because I know the competition in the studio world can be a bit more, maybe like a bit more intense than if we were just kind of all individual. But yeah, definitely just keep the lines of communication open. Keep connecting with people, keep connecting with teachers, keep connecting with studios, studio to studio or studio owner to studio owner. Because ultimately we're all in this together. We're all working towards, like I said, the same thing. We all want the same thing. We just want to provide a good experience for our students and our clients. And so to have those lines of communication open and really work together, studios, work together as a studio and share audiences, host one workshop in one studio between the two audiences, and then the next month host one in the other studio. Bring your audience over there, bring their audience over there. Again, this goes back to having sort of equal audience bases is a good reference, but there's so many ways that you can kind of tie them in together and not make it like a hostile environment. So I hope that helps, Roslyn. Any other questions, definitely please tag me in the Facebook group, all of you. If you've got a really great idea for collaboration and you have no one, you don't know where to start to reach out in the Facebook group. There's so many people that they're from all over the world. There might be someone rated in your next door neighbor in there. So reach out and ask and let us know your ideas. I would love to hear them. I'm always a big fan of hearing these. And then stay tuned for my big collaboration, which I'll announce soon. I'm so excited. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. We've got good timing here. So thank you so much, everyone who joined me live. Thank you so much, everyone who's watching the replay. And until a couple weeks from now, I will see you then. Otherwise, I'll be in the Facebook group. Mwah. Bye.